Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are a big deal. They are coming off the insane high that is Pokémon Legends Arceus, and what's more, they are being touted as the first fully open-world Pokémon games. There is a huge amount of optimism for these games, and there's a lot of things that I would personally love to see, which is why in today's video, I'm gonna give you guys 5 major hopes that I have for Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. I've got some fun stuff to talk about that would be amazing to have in these games, so let's go ahead and get into it. We might as well get the obvious out of the way first, because basically, I want these games to carry over as much from Legends Arceus as they possibly can. It's actually kinda funny, because putting together a hopes list for these games was kinda tricky, cause almost everything that I would normally hope for, Legends Arceus already delivered on. It really was that good. So I really hope Game Freak pays attention to how special that game is, and how much people loved it, and use it as the foundation for Pokémon Scarlet and Violet and all the main series games going forward. Obviously, however, with Legends Arceus having such a different setting to a modern main series game, there's obviously going to be some transitioning going on, and it's not going to be a one-to-one recreation, which is why I want to call for, in particular, the return of riding Pokemon to traverse the overworld and real-time Pokemon catching. First, riding Pokemon made Legends Arceus so much fun, especially when it came to exploration, and with Scarlet and Violet being fully open world, which is even more open world than Legends Arceus was, having riding Pokemon that we can use to fly, climb, surf, and just explore this open world in general are going to be essential. With the setting being the modern day, however, and the protagonists of the games being significantly younger looking compared to those from Arceus, it does make me wonder how they will go about it. But point blank, this has to be in the game for a fully open world experience to actually work, regardless if the protagonists are 10 years old or if the setting is more modern. Likewise, real-time Pokemon catching needs to make a return as well. There has been some concern as to whether this will be coming back due to a statement that is made on the Scarlet and Violet website, but personally, I don't think that statement necessarily deconfirms anything, and given that it's apparent that this game has been influenced by Legends, and also this mechanic would just be integral to a successful open-world Pokemon experience in general, I am hopeful that it will return. It just wouldn't really make any sense, in my opinion, to have an open world game and then have it constantly interrupted by wild Pokemon battle sequences. Legends did it perfectly, where the battles were still there, but you could also very seamlessly catch Pokemon and just be on your way. It also made the act of catching Pokemon more fun than it has ever been, and that is not even a debatable discussion as far as I'm concerned. So bringing this back in Scarlet and Violet is a must for me. Moving on, I want to bring back HMs in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. I know that sounds kinda weird, but as ironic as it may sound, there has been a significant amount of outcry lately for HMs to come back, despite how hated they were originally. This is because, for as tedious as they did make past games, they also provided some very enjoyable elements, like opening up new areas in previously explored locations, and simply just having your Pokemon be able to help you traverse the expansive region that you're exploring. I personally think that those elements would add so much to the exploration factor of Pokémon Scarlet and Violet as an open world game, and the thing is, Pokémon Legends Arceus actually introduced the ultimate solution to the HM problem that would make them absolutely perfect, and we would never have to have this discussion again. in Legends, they shook up the move system to where your Pokemon could know more than 4 moves, and at any point, you could swap out the 4 moves your Pokemon could actually use with a larger pool of moves that it had learned over time and will continue to have access to. If you translated this to Scarlet and Violet for the purpose of HMs, it would be perfect, because then you could simply swap in an HM move whenever you needed to use it, and then swap it right back out when you're done so it doesn't have to take up a move slot. That would literally give us the best of both worlds as far as HMs are concerned, so it should absolutely happen. Additionally though, HMs could also simply be relegated to certain types of Pokemon, meaning for instance that all water types can use Surf, all flying types can use Fly, and once you beat the corresponding gym to unlock the HM, you simply just have to have a Pokemon of that type in your party to use the HM. Those are 2 absolutely doable options, in my opinion, that would make HMs non-intrusive, but still allow them to enhance the exploration side of the games the way they've done in years past. And with an open world game, elements like that are going to be all the more important to have. Another thing that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet need to do is redeem Pokemon Sword and Shield on a couple things that it definitely should have done, but inexplicably didn't. The first of those is freaking bring back Looker into these games. Looker had literally appeared in every main series game since his debut in Pokemon Platinum until Generation 8, where he's been completely absent from every game that's been released, including the 2 Sinnoh-based games, BDSP and Legends Arceus. As a detective, he was also a perfect fit for the UK-based Sword and Shield as well, and as an absolute fan favorite who had a long-standing track record of appearing, his disappearance is honestly a bit ridiculous. That is why Scarlet and Violet need to bring him back and give him a proper appearance, because frankly, that's just what most of us want as fans. His parts of the games are always some of the most interesting, so seriously, make it happen, Game Freak. The other missed opportunity that Pokemon Sword and Shield had, however, was that it didn't bother having any kind of crossover at all with the Kalos region, despite Galar being a literal neighbor to it, with it being based on the UK and Kalos being based on France. There didn't even need to be a second explorable region type of thing here, just some kind of crossover between the 2 regions that would have gave them some interaction and made the gameplay that much more interesting. But there was nothing whatsoever aside from a couple of NPC mentions. Since Scarlet and Violet's region is clearly based on Spain though, and possibly even the whole Iberian Peninsula, it would also be a neighbor to Kalos, so they need to right the wrong that Sword and Shield gave us and give us some actual crossover between the 2. Once again, it doesn't have to be in the form of Kalos as a second explorable region, although I would absolutely love that to death, and an open world game is the perfect chance to do that, so like, please, but there does need to be some overlap. We don't get regions that are super close to each other that often, at least not in modern Pokemon games anyway. And whenever we do get some interaction between multiple regions, whether that's characters from one region appearing in another, or whatever the case may be, it's always a treat. And it just makes things so much more interesting within the game. So, Game Freak, please take the opportunity this time and make it happen. For as good as Pokemon Legends Arceus was, one thing that it should have had that it didn't was roaming Pokemon. With a more open setting, having roaming Pokemon in that game that are constantly on the move and that are much harder to find and catch, similar to the Galarian legendary birds from the Sword and Shield DLC, would have been incredible. Roaming Pokémon are a perfect fit for more open games like Legends Arceus, and now Scarlet and Violet, and Scarlet and Violet needs to deliver here where Legends Arceus didn't. Imagine exploring the fully open world that these games will have, and then happening upon a legendary that you weren't expecting to see, that you had released onto the map earlier in the game. And then, from there, you slowly but surely approach it to try and catch it. That would be an amazing experience, and like I said, would be a perfect fit for an open world game like Scarlet and Violet. And with Scarlet and Violet supposedly being the next step up from Legends Arceus, this is one feature that absolutely should be included. Speaking of being the next step up from Legends Arceus, one thing that Scarlet and Violet could do that would be incredible, and really is just one step up from what happened in Legends, is being able to use a ride Pokemon in battle while you're riding it. While I was playing Legends, I would be riding around on Weirdeer or Ursaluna, feeling all majestic, and then I would see a Pokemon that I wanted to catch or battle, but in order to do so, I had to get off this awesome, powerful Pokemon I was just on, and then throw out another Pokemon entirely. I wasn't expecting this to be a feature or anything, but this whole process did seem kind of counterintuitive to me. Like, I already have a Pokemon here ready to go, so if I want to battle with a wild Pokemon while riding on the back of one of my own, I feel like that should be a thing that is possible. It would have made the gameplay in Legends feel that much more natural, but then it would also just be cool as heck at the same time. And like I said, this is the kind of thing that really would just be one step up from what we got in Legends. And with Scarlet and Violet advertising themselves as such, this is something that I am hoping for and would be absolutely elated to see. So, those are some of my hopes for Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. Which of these would you like to see happen the most? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to let me know your personal hopes as well. Also, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new, and if you like what I do here, consider checking out my Pokemon remixes on Spotify and other streaming services. It helps out the channel a ton if you listen, it's massively appreciated, and it's literally just listening to Pokemon music. So give it a look, and if you do decide to check that out, thank you in advance so much. With that said, I will be back with another video very soon, and until then, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, I love you very much, and I will smell you guys later.